So this scenario was an experience I had in my travels, and at the time I had no clue about it and what to do about it. And I remember that I was in my workplace and I had to communicate a lot with different places, particularly with my superiors, based on what I was doing. And I usually always communicate based on how I grew up, how I was raised, culturally and traditionally. And I was raised to show a lot of respect. And that meant me being able to put my hands behind my back, use yes, please. I remember the 3 magic words: I'm sorry, please, and thank you. I was taught that. And to use please as much as often. And when you are looking at an adult, not to definitely look them in the eye, at staring, because it doesn't show respect to them. So I did that in my workplace. And I remember very well that I was working with a superior. After a couple of times I did it, obviously she must have observed it together with her assistant, who was a he. They both observed it. So she called me into her office and said, you know, there's something that you're doing great. There's something I need to bring to your attention that basically will not help your performance appraisal. And she said it has a lot to do with your body language and some of the things you communicate. When you're speaking, you use please a lot. It doesn't give us any assertion. You look away a lot. You have your hands behind your back. Different body languages which don't speak to you to command the respect that you need to be able to do your work very effectively. And I was like, wow, I thought I was doing the right thing, and I was taken aback by that conversation. But I thought it was candid, it was helpful. So I went back and I began to reflect and then began to learn and began to ask a lot of questions, only to find out that there's a disparity between culture and corporate. And as much as there's a disparity, there can also be a synergy, but you have to know. And so I took this lesson away and I began to work on myself, my body language. And of course, part of my work today is to train and coach people on how to be better at this. But when I found that out, I began to think through a lot of scenarios of travel when you talk about cultural exposure. Because when you get into any kind of new situation, calling it when you wade into new waters, there are things you need to pay particular attention to. So you first have a disparity, therefore making a comparison. A community, therefore making a connection. Fear, and therefore you need to build confidence. So my advice and my lesson through this is that to be able to get these 3 C's working for you to actually connect corporate with culture, whenever you wade into new waters, always do activities, always build or engage in relationships, and always make decisions. These 3 things would get you to your 3 C's. So activities, relationships, and decisions in any new space will connect you to community, would help you compare disparity, and will help you build confidence. I found this out that as soon as my superior taught me, I began to use all her techniques and skills in activities. I began to use that in engaging people, and I began to use that in not just building relationships, but making decisions. And I began to see that, wow, the more exposed you are, the more you can do. And what it did was that it put me in a space that created expansion around me and created huge potential, because I was able to decipher and actually understand that there's a disparity between corporate and culture. And then within that same disparity, there's synergy you can use. So in culture, give everyone the needed respect, because that's your culture. As soon as you meet people in your culture, you do that. But when you get to corporate, you also project what it takes to succeed in corporate. That means you have both working for you. that gives you true corporate culture exposure.